Hey guys, just doing a quick sound check. I think we're okay. There we are. Yeah, I can hear myself. That's good. Sorry guys, just got delayed. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually playing Fall Guys with my kid. He's sick at the moment. The only way to kind of keep him quiet is play games with him. So, where are we up to? We're going to finish off question 3 today with the 2022 paper. And just get my answer sheet ready. Alright, got everything ready. Sweet. Hey Kenna, hey Joe, welcome back Raymond and Hector. This is day 2, we're doing day 2. Mike is so far away, sorry. There we go, is that better? That should be better. Okay guys, just like the last few days, sorry I got a bit delayed with things. What we're going to do is we're going to be looking at 2022 paper day 2. We're going to be doing question 3, and that's pretty much all of question 3, and I think there's about 5 questions in today's session. As always, they range between achieved merit and excellence, and we'll try and get through these questions. Zoe, I'm going to be doing level 3 integration paper tomorrow, so get ready for a marathon 2-hour session tomorrow night. We'll get rid of level 3 integration 2022 paper because I haven't done that yet, and just trying to kind of do 2 things at the same time. So anyway guys, we're going to kick off with this question, and what I'll do is I'm going to give you guys about, what is it, it's 8:05 right now, so maybe I'll go through the answer at 8:07, so give you guys about a minute to try and work this question out. No, Hector, I'll not be doing this on Friday. Usually I try and have like Friday, Saturdays off. And I don't think anybody comes on a Friday night. Like, I mean, usually I look at my viewer stats and it's Friday night and Saturday night. It's like completely down below. I don't think anybody wants to come to a tutorial on Friday night. Maybe I'll play games on Friday night. That might be okay, but not... definitely not algebra. Hector, this is, I think today, I think today is Wednesday. Usually I try to take like a Tuesday break, but I'll try to do 5 days, Sunday to Thursday, and just mix it up. I just haven't really worked out a schedule yet. I just jump on and just feel free to do it. Look, I'll be honest. I mean, like if I had the voice capacity, like, because if I'm not teaching during the daytime, I could easily do like 2 hours of streaming a night easily. But you know, it is what it is. Still gotta do a day job. All right, guys, we're gonna go through this question at the moment. And as always, guys, I'm gonna be recording this for the folks that are not watching it later. Yes, the stream will be available to watch as well, but it's just with the recording, I kind of just do that as part of my collection. But okay, so with question 3a, it's a nice little achieved question, I think it is. All you're doing really is substituting the values. So you've got 5 plus 2, 4 times x, which happens to be 2, times y, which is negative 2 squared, minus z, which happens to be 12. So the first thing we want to do is we want to do that minus 2 squared. So we've got 5 plus 2, 4 times 2 times minus 2 squared is 4, and minus 12. And kind of working through BEDMAS here. So we've got 4 times 2 times 4, that's 32. Take away 12. 32 take away 12 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. And what you should get is 45 as your answer. Now you've got to have a correct solution for this question, folks, otherwise you are not getting an achieved for this. So make sure that You know, sometimes it's good to just double check the answer again, just to see that you haven't actually made a mistake. But don't do it straight away. At the end of the exam, maybe go back and have a double check of your answer just to check that you've actually done everything right. So any problems with that question, guys? And can we move on to the next question? Let me know. I'm assuming that this was fine. I'm just going to move on to the next question. Yeah, cool. All right, so question B, what is it, 809. We'll go through the answer at, I'll give you guys 2 minutes for it, all right? 8:11:30. It's a little bit too high. Is that better? Now I know yesterday when we did this question as an excellence one, you know, you kind of had to put it all in the same basis, but just have a look at these numbers. It's 5 and 40. You won't be able to do that, so you've got to rearrange something first, and then things will start kind of making sense. That's my hint for you guys for this question. And when you do have an answer, guys, you know, don't be shy. Put it up on the chat. Even if you make a mistake, I love looking at mistakes, because it's like I try and figure out what it is that you did to try and get that number. Sometimes I can kind of see it, but sometimes I'm like, man, I got no idea. I need to see it working. So x equals 3. Song, you should be fine with this. This is like, I don't know, what question is this? Is this a merit question? Surely. Oh, it is a merit question. Wow. It is a merit question. Hector, I can't remember if you actually sent some questions or not. I thought you said you were going to, and anyway, let's get through with this question. Alright guys, so with this question, so I know that when we did this question earlier on, I told you guys that when you have a base of 2, you try and look for other numbers. Now unfortunately in this case, we don't see a 4, we don't see a 8, we don't see a 16. Alright, and don't and I know sometimes people do this when they see 5. I don't know why they automatically write this as 2 to the power of 2.5. Now this is not correct. Okay, 2 to the power of 2.25 is completely something different. It's definitely not 5. And remember that you don't have a calculator. Because you don't have a calculator, you straight away should know, okay, now that's not actually possible. Because the only things you know are, you know 2 to the power of 1 is 2, 2 squared is 4, 2 to the power of 3 is 8. All right. So with that in mind, we've got to figure out a way to get rid of that 5 and 40. Now in your head, you got to kind of go, actually 5 and 40, that's like 5 times 8 is 40, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to rearrange this to 2 to the power of 5x minus 12 is equal to 40 divided by 5. When we do that, we're going to get 2 to the power of 5x minus 12 equals 8, because 40 divided by 5 is 8. Now we've got that 8, we can actually write that 8 as 2 to the power of 3. Hey Talia, welcome. So 2 to the power of 5x minus 12 equals 2 to the power of 3. And because we've actually got the two bases that are the same, we can actually say the two powers must equal to each other. And because of that, we can say 5x minus 12 is equal to 3, and then 5x is equal to 3 plus 12, 5x is equal to 15, and then x is equal to 15 divided by 5 which actually gives you x equals to 3. Now, grades wise, this particular question, if I checked it correctly before, forming a linear equation and solving for x is going to give you a merit. So that means you can't just put the answer, you've also got to have a linear equation, which means you've got to do that 5x minus 12. So you've got to show that working. For achieved, you could actually get achieved when you get to this line here. You're actually looking at an achieved, or if you like make a mistake around somewhere below that, after that third line, you're also looking at achieved for this question. All right, guys, on this side, I've got any questions on the chat? Hey, Citizen, look, I'm going to be honest, right? Like, I don't think it's a good idea to think like that, especially for the MCAT, because every year I've noticed that the schedule gets changed up. So some years it's like you got to get 3E, some years you got to get 2E. So I wouldn't risk that at all. And plus, the biggest problem with the MCAT is, like, you know, you never. I know sometimes you think that the last question is excellence, and generally it is, but they also have like excellence questions kind of peppered in the middle as well. So you don't want to risk that. You want to make sure that you can actually answer all questions. Yeah, it's pretty obvious in the level 2 and level 3 exams, but in level 1 it's a little bit annoying. All right, cool. I guess there's a bit of request for people to do another question like this, so I will put up another question for you guys. Just bear with me on the side here. Do you guys want to see the working, or try and do it without the working? Try without the working. Okay, that's a good choice, man. I like it. I like it. Growth mindset right there, people. That's awesome. Okay, so let's try this one here. Hang on, I just got to try and work it out, all right? Try that one there, guys. Kind of unfortunately, I can't really comment on that, because like every school has like different courses at level 2, so I can't comment on it because I don't know what your school is offering for internal. Like, I don't know what standards they're doing and so forth, so yeah, I can't really comment on it. But if you're doing like physics, and if you're thinking about doing engineering or anything like that, you want to make sure that, you know, you kind of get good with algebra. All right, nice. I think it looks like you guys got the hang of it now. You guys got quite a few answers. Like, look, I might actually throw another question up there for you. X equals minus 2. We got x equals 3 over 2. Okay, let's have a look. The first thing I'm going to do, 3 to the power of 2x minus 1 equals 36 divided by 4. Then I've got 3 to the power of 2x minus 1 equals to 9. Now I know that 3 to the power of 1 is 3. 3 squared is equal to 9. And if 3 squared equals to 9, I can say that 3 to the power of 2x minus 1 equals 3 squared. Then I can just say the two powers must equal to each other. So I'm going to get 2x minus 1 is equal to 2. 2x is equal to 2 plus 1. And then 2x equals 3. X is equal to 3 over 2. I'm curious how you guys got that x equals to 2 and x equals to negative 2. I'd love to see the working of yours to try and kind of help you guys out there with that mistake. But hopefully you guys can see where you made your mistake and kind of understand how to move forward. Let me know how you guys went with this. And 3 cubed. Yeah, that's a common mistake, kind of, because you automatically think 3 to the power of 3 is 9. But that's the mistake I was talking about before. What would you guys like to do? Would you like another one like this, or we can move on to the next question? Mixed, Vanch, mixed. It just kind of, you know, they put it 1 year and then, What I might do is I might just put one more up, but I'll make it a little bit harder. Because I think you guys, you know, I think you guys know how to do this, but I'll hide the working again. I'm going to try and annoy you, of course, so I'm going to put a question that's going to annoy you. What about if I do this question here? Let's try this one. Just to annoy you guys. It's a good challenge, trust me. It's a good challenge. Let's do 9, 16, 625. Let's do this one here. Solve for x. This is the last one, all right? This is the last one. So do exactly what we've been doing so far, guys, but just try and use all of your indices rules. Now, Kinna, you can do this, Kinna. Just remember, write down all the powers of 2 first. So write down 2 to the power of 1, 2 squared, 2 cubed, 2 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 5. Do that. That's your step 1. Because if you can rewrite this question with everything with base 2, you're already looking at an achieved for this. Hector, same with you. Come on. You know how to do this. Just put the 2 to the power of 1 and so on. Man, come on, guys. I know you guys haven't seen this before, but trust me, you know how to do this because this is what we've been doing so far in all of these other questions. All you have to do is write down 2 to the power of 1 equals to 2 on this left-hand side. Put down all those numbers and see what happens, because trust me, you guys know how to do this. You can, Samri, but not yet. Not yet. Like, damn. Maybe that was a little bit too far ahead for you guys. Nah, Cobbs, I've never kind of went through that yet. That's right, Jade. Yeah, that's absolutely right. You guys got to make the bases all the same. Remember, here's the clue for you, right? I'm gonna do this clue for you guys. If you ever see a question like this, you do this. 2 to the power of 1 is 2. 2 squared, 4. 2 to the power of 3, 4 times 2 is 8. 2 to the power of 4 is 16. 2 to the power of 5 is 32. That's your first hint I'm going to give you guys. There's multiple ways you can solve this, Vanch. So you could do that. That's a possibility. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of clues as well. So here's a clue for you. A to the power of m divided by a to the power of n. This is one of your clues. Here is another clue. So I've given you everything you need to do for you to solve this question. So give it a go. And by the way, if you guys think like, oh, I've never seen this type of question, I'm going to stop here. We've got to change that attitude, right? We've got to go, okay, I've never seen this question, but what do I need to figure it out is what you guys need to think about. Very close, Kinna. That should have been 5 plus x, not 5 times x. Because remember, Kinna, this is something you need to know. A to the power of m times a to the power of n is a to the power of m plus n. Ooh, 64 root x 16. We've got a couple of people with 1/3. And we've got a 4. 4 looks very big. All right, guys, I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to actually give you another question like this just to kind of get you guys... I always get sidetracked. That's the problem, right? Okay, anyway, here's what we're going to do. We know that 16 could be written as 2 to the power of 4. We also know 32 could be written as 2 to the power of 5. Now, this is your first kind of clue to get that easy achieved mark. Because what you're going to do is you're going to go 2 to the power of 4 to the power of x plus 1 divided by 2 to the power of x equals 2 to the power of 5. Now just this part here is going to get you an achieved for this question. Now comes the actual solving part of it. So like who was it? Vanch asked me, can I do I do 32 by 2? And I think Kinna, you did that. You took the 2x to the other side, right? Lots of ways of doing this. I'm going to do it, well, let's do Kinna's way because it's like cross multiply, right? So if you cross multiply, you're going to get 2 to the power of 5 multiplied by 2 to the power of x. Now here we go. The first rule is when you have powers of powers, like how I got here, I actually multiply the powers. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 to the power of 4 times x plus 1 equals 2, and when you have the same powers and same base, I'm going to use a different color. Oh, red and red is not going to work, is it? Oh god, I'm running out of colors. Yeah, let me just try this, hold on. So in this case, I'm actually adding the powers. So I'm going to end up with 2 to the power of 5 plus x. And then, because we've got the two bases that are going to be the same, we can get rid of the base, and what we have is 4 to the power of x plus 1 equals 5 plus x. We're going to expand the brackets, which means we're going to get 4x and 4 equals 5 plus x. Rearrange this now. Bring all the x's to one side. 4x minus x. Take all the numbers to the other side. We got 5 minus 4. And we've got 3x is equal to 1. And then x is equal to 1 over 3. Now I'm going to leave this question up here, folks, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you have any questions about that particular line number, shout it out in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to move on because we'll have plenty of time to practice these types of questions. So we'll do this one, and then like when we repeat these level 1 streams, we'll come back to some of these questions. Stacy, we're going to be doing level 3 integration 2022 paper tomorrow. Raghav, I'll try Raghav because we are supposed to be doing level 2 today, but I just want to finish this paper. Why did you put the x plus 1 in the brackets? Right, the reason I put x plus 1 in brackets is because you know how when you have like let's say I have x plus 1, right? and I want to multiply it by 2. If I want to multiply this x plus 1 by 2, I have to put the whole thing in a bracket before I can multiply it by 2. Otherwise, what happens is I end up just multiplying just the x and I forget about the 2. So if I just write down 2 x plus 1 and I go, oh, I'd like to times this by 2, you automatically just multiply this and you actually forget about the 1. And so that's why it's a really good idea to put brackets around anytime you want to multiply. Does that help you, Vanch? Stacy, we'll be doing it at 8 o'clock. Probably do it from 8 to 10 maybe. Samri, it depends on the paper, right? I'm going to be doing papers at the moment, so I'll actually have a look. Yes, I know which question you're talking about, Samri. I'm saying yes to Alice. Alice, looking at line 2, the other way you could have done this is this. From here, we could have actually used trying to find a color that'll work. We could have used this part, which means I would have got 2 to the power of, oh no, actually I'm gonna do from line, I'll do it from here. So we would have had 2 to the power of 4 times x plus 1 divided by 2 to the power of x equals 2 to the power of 5. Then I expand the numerator, the power, which means it's going to be 4x plus 4 divided by 2 to the power of x equals 2 to the power of 5. Now I use this thing here, which means I'm going to get 2 to the power of 4x plus 4 minus x equals 2 to the power of 5. And then I'm going to get 2 to the power of 3x plus 4 equals 2 to the power of 5. And then I kind of just do the same steps after that. 3x plus 4 equals 5. 3x is equal to 5 minus 4 is 1. And then x is equal to 1/3. So yes, there is another way of doing that as well. Does that help, Alice, with your question? So lots of ways of doing this question, right? Like, and there's a reason why I put this question up. I know it would have thrown you guys off, but it's a great learning opportunity for you guys. All right, guys, we're going to get back on track with the rest of the questions. So we're up to question C here. Cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys maybe 2 to 3 minutes to try this question, and we'll go through the answer at 8:34. Let's go 8:34. By the way, I'm following this time here. Madeline, I don't tend to do geometric reasoning or tables equations till after the MCAT is over, because I kind of save it for the end of the, what do you call it, after the MCAT is done. But there are old tutorials, you know, you can just look at my channel and look at the past tutorials. Sorry, Lauren. I think it'll be next week sometime, because I kind of had a bit of a busy week last week, so had to get things out of the way so that I could actually get my level 1s out of the way. At least then I'm so short on time at the moment. I'm actually live streaming and recording at the same time, so that I could actually catch up with a few things. Right, if you've got an answer of 32xy for that, that's a lovely merit right there. But Hey, look, yeah, I know I'm supposed to do it, but like on Sunday, I'll see if I can try and create a schedule and put that schedule up, so that you at least you guys have a bit of warning. Yeah, that's correct, citizen. Just expand the brackets and then you're good to go, pretty much. It's all right, Samri. Well, tough luck, mate, because I gotta get going with this question. All right, so question 2, what we've got here is using two squares, calculate how much bigger area the square A is bigger than square B. So all we're doing is just area of square A minus area of square B. So if we do area of a square, that's just base times height. So area of square A is going to be 2x plus 4y times 2x plus 4y minus area of square B, which is 2x minus 4y times 2x minus 4y. All right, so if that's the case, all you got to do is you've got to expand the brackets and then simplify. So we're going to expand this quadratic here first, and when we do that, we get 4x squared plus 8xy plus 8xy plus 16y squared minus. Now here is where you need to be careful. All right, when you're actually subtracting a quadratic, it's always a good idea to put an extra bracket here like this, because that minus sign is going to have an impact on the rest of the signs for that whole quadratic. Similar to the one of the questions that we did earlier, it's always a good idea to just put that bracket there. So once again, I'm going to expand the brackets here, but remember I've got this little bracket, this bigger bracket inside of it there. So 2x and 2x is 4x squared minus 8xy minus 8xy plus 16y squared. Red bracket, there we go. Okay, next part I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify this, both of these quadratics. So I've got 4x squared plus 16xy plus 16y squared minus, I'm going to have my little red bracket out there, and inside this red bracket I've got 4x squared plus 16xy plus, no, not plus, minus, sorry, minus 16xy plus 16y squared. Okay, now because of that negative sign in front of that red bracket, I've got to multiply that negative with all of these three terms. So I'm going to end up with 4x squared plus 16xy plus 16y squared minus 4x squared plus 16xy and minus 16y squared. So when I do this, let's see, 4x squared disappears, 16y squared, that disappears, and I'm left with just 32xy. So grades wise for this question, 32xy is going to get you a merit. For achieved, correct expansion, blah blah blah, correct, forms correct expression for the required value of the area of difference. Wow, really? Okay, so you get an achieved just for that line. Forms correct expression for the, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much an achieved there for just writing that first line. Not bad actually, this question. How do we go, folks, for that? Yeah, like, see, whenever I see these kind of questions, right, I always kind of work with the diagrams because it just makes it easier. Like in this case, I kind of went, okay, yeah, they just want to know how big one area is than the other, so I'm just going to go the big square minus the little square, the area, and literally use the diagram and just kind of like slowly work it through. I guess the important part for this particular question is that red brackets. You gotta have that red brackets whenever you're subtracting like a whole lot of things in that equation, and if you forget that red bracket, then I think you're gonna have some problems with that I think you end up getting like 32y squared. So yeah, that's huge, Talia, because whenever you put a minus in front of a bracket, basically what you're saying is that you're multiplying by -1. So this part I'm talking about, this part here where the red bracket is. If there is a minus in front, basically that means that this is actually -1 in front of it. All right, so that's why it's super important. Samri, no, I mean, I just used the red pen here just to show you guys the kind of the idea behind it. But if I were you, I would actually use a highlighter. You could just have like a yellow highlighter with you and go, right, I'm going to subtract this whole thing by that minus sign. And so that way you kind of can remember. All right, that's another way you could do it as well. Yeah, I told you, Samri, like, you know, if you forget the red bracket, you were going to get 32y squared, and that means you would have got just achieved. So I think, who was it? Was it Alice or someone that asked? No, not Alice. Somebody asked me about the why do I multiply by x plus 1 for the previous question. You have to have that brackets around it. Otherwise, you would have got, instead of 4x plus 4, without the brackets, you would have actually got 4x plus 1. And that won't be correct as well. All right, are we okay with this, guys? Can we go on to the next question? Because I think the next two questions are the next two questions should be excellence questions. Why did the 16y squared turn negative on the right side line 3? Okay, that's because of the -1 in front of the red bracket. Citizen, if you look at line 3, when I put a negative in front of that bracket, it's the same thing as saying -1. So -1 multiplied by positive 16y squared is going to make it negative 16y squared. I know, but now after looking at this, Alice, I think you'll be all right, right? All right, folks, we are going to go to the next question. We've got two more questions for tonight. They're both excellence questions. And look, even if you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, just hang around, because any excellence questions, you can get achieved parts from it, you can get merit from it. So even if you do like little parts of that question, there's a really good chance you're going to pick up some grades. Even if you don't get the full question correct, if you get part of the question correct, you can actually get achieved or merit. So brings us to this question. I think, Samri, you wanted something very similar to this type of question here. What I'll do is I will give you guys, okay, so there's a couple of ways I'm going to do this question for you guys. All right. So the way we're going to do this question is I will give you guys a couple of minutes just to see if you can get to the formula. All right. Then what I will do is I will give you guys some more time so that, you know, it kind of helps you guys out as well. So it gives you a bit of chance to go, oh, actually, I know how to do from this part as well. So I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes for the equation part. If you don't get the equation part, then you've got only to wait for 2 minutes. But if you understand this question, feel free to go all the way to the end. Cruise, not necessarily, but usually I start kind of ramping it up from like August to November. Okay. Blah blah blah. 2x. The path has 3 rectangular sections. Yeah, that's okay. That's great. Joe, you're actually on the right spot because I'm about to show this. All right. Okay, so with question D, what we've got here is we've got a first. We know this. We know this question is going to be a quadratic equation. It's going to be a quadratic equation equal to 0 at some point, and we've got to factorize. All right. We know that's what we're doing. So, but what we do need to do though is we need to come up with the equation. Now, if you look at this question, the question says path around the veggie patch. Don't really care about the veggie patch here. It says the path has 3 rectangular sections. All measurements are in meters, blah, blah, blah. She's got concrete enough to make a path with a total of area of 9 meters squared. So basically this 9 meters squared that she has is the gray area. And we are supposed to figure out what x is, all right, which happens to be the width of the path. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this up into 3 rectangles. All right, now the first rectangle is quite easy because you could just put that second rectangle at the bottom here, because when we split this up, we've actually got 3 rectangles that we're looking at. We've got rectangle 1, rectangle 2, and rectangle 3, and so we're going to draw them out. So I've got rectangle 1 that looks like this, rectangle 2 that looks like this, rectangle 3 that looks like this, and when we add up these 3 rectangles, we are going to get 9 meters squared. So let me just show you 1, 2, and 3. The next step is we need to actually get the dimensions for those rectangles. Now if we look at rectangle number 1, rectangle 1 has a base of 2 and a height of x, because there's rectangle 1, that's 2 and x there. I'm going to do rectangle 3 next. Rectangle 3 has a base of 4x and a height of x. So I'm going to write that down. So that's going to be 4x and x. Finally, I've got rectangle 2. Rectangle 2's base is actually x. However, this is the only part that you need to kind of understand. Now, rectangle 2's height is not 15. All right? Because if you think about it, we've actually got an x from here to here, and we've also got the measurement of x from there to there. So what we have to do is rectangle 2's height is actually from here, which is 15, but we actually have to take away 2 x's. I hope that makes sense. But basically rectangle 2's height is 15, take away 2x. So guys, I'm gonna pause my recording there at that point, because this is pretty much how you set up the equation. Joe, hopefully that made sense. I'm gonna give you guys about 3 to 4 minutes to try and answer this question. But I've set up everything for you, but give it a go from here. Talia, how do I know this is going to be a quadratic? Because whenever you're working with area and you've got x's, remember you're working with 2 dimensions. So x times x is going to be ending up with a quadratic, because it's going to have like x squared in it. Unless they have like a number and an x. Majority of the time, they will, any of these kind of garden questions, or rectangle questions, it generally tends to be like, and if you're working with area and you've got two x's, it's going to be a quadratic. On track there, Madeline. Nice work. I'm just going to do the next step, guys. All right. So what would have happened here is now that we've got these rectangles, we just go base times height. So we've got 2 times x, which is 2x, plus 15 minus 2x multiplied by x, plus 4x multiplied by x, and this is equal to 9. So at this point, folks, all you have to do is you have to expand all the terms, simplify it to a quadratic, put it equal to 0, and solve, and you're pretty much good to go. Yeah, it's good to kind of mention that second answer as well, Alex, like how you did. Don't just put yeah, you have to have evidence of negative value disregarded. So we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to the final answer. But Madeline, I know you've only put x equals to 0.5, but make sure you put x can't be -9 as well, because you can't actually have a -9 as a width. And you definitely need to say that you can't have -9 as a width to get that excellence grade. So I'll give you guys another couple of minutes and then I'll actually work through this quadratic. Yeah. Joe, were you okay with that? Because I know you kind of was asking me before, where do I start? Sweet, good to know. Alright guys, I'm going to go through this question because I'm aware of the time and just got to try and do that last question as well. Okay, so we are going to actually work on this quadratic. So we've got 2x, we're going to leave it as it is. Then we've got 15 times x, which happens to be 15x, minus 2x times x, which is negative 2x squared, plus 4x times x is 4x squared equals to 9. So simplifying this, we've got 2x squared plus 17x is equal to 9. And getting rid of that 9, we're going to get 2x squared plus 17x minus 9 is equal to 0. And once again, guys, as I've always said with this quadratic equation, if you are comfortable finding it your own way, whichever way it is that you're doing, go for it. As long as you get those two solutions, that's all that matters. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go 2 times negative 9, which is negative 18. And I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 18 and add up to positive 17. So 18 and negative 1, 18 and negative 1 looks good. So then I'm going to get 2x squared plus 18x minus 1x minus 9 is equal to 0. Then I'm going to factorize by two of them by separating them, and I've got 2x x plus 9, and on this side I've got negative 1 as a common factor. X plus 9 equals to 0. Then x plus 9 is a common factor, and I've got 2x minus 1 equals to 0. Now of course that 2x is from there, the negative 1 is from there, and we're nearly there because we've got x plus 9 equals to 0, or 2x minus 1 equals to 0. So x equals minus 9 in this case. And in the other case, we've got 2x is equal to positive 1, and then x is equal to 1 over 2. So the final part is super important. We have to say x is equal to half, as x can't be negative. Because remember, you can't have a negative 9 as a width. And this is really important because when it comes to the grades, for the grade of excellence, you have to actually say correct positive solution with evidence of negative value disregarded. So you kind of have to say that x can't be negative. You can actually say width can't be negative. As for merit, simplifying to a quadratic equation equal to 0. So getting up to this line here is worth a merit. For achieved, like I told you guys, for achieved, forming correct expression for the total area, which is right there, you could easily get an achieved for that. All right. Now let's say you make a mistake in that line and you kind of carry all the way to a quadratic. You know, let's say you got a quadratic equation that's wrong because one of your starting, you know, that second line you made a mistake, but you get a quadratic equation equal to 0. You could also get an achieved for that. So yeah, I mean, the main important thing is like split your these types of questions into like little diagrams, work out the height and the base and height, and then kind of work through it. And eventually it should end up as a quadratic. I'm fairly certain that most of the time it's always been a quadratic. And it's always a quadratic where the x squared value is greater than 1. So you're going to have to do this kind of equation, and it's going to be an excellence question, right? So keep that in mind. Nah, Joe, you had it right. X is equal to negative 9. Does it have to be put as negative 1 or just minus x? I'm trying to see where you're asking that question, Talia. Does it have to be put as negative 1x or just negative x? I think are you talking about that, Talia? Are you talking about that 2x squared plus 18x minus 1x? Yeah, that one you can put as negative 1x or negative x. It doesn't matter. It's still the same part. It's the same thing. Do you put the answer as half or 0.5? Again, same thing, Kay. You don't have to worry about putting it as 0.5 or half. Kenna, you got to give me a clue as to which line you're confused with. I'm going to throw some lines here. Pick up one of those pink numbers and tell me which line you're having problem with. Because if you're having problems with after line 5, then I would recommend you to go have a look at some of my quadratic equation tutorials that I did earlier this year. I think it was like a couple of weeks ago. Alright guys, we're going to go to the last question for the night. It's another excellence question, and then we should be done for the night. And then what I'll do is I'll probably edit all the bits together and then release the whole thing as a video so you can just rewatch it in one shot rather than doing all these other extra bits. Okay, so last question for the night. Jeez, two consecutive odd number shape is always... I think we did this yesterday towards the end with the odd numbers and consecutive numbers. I might just put that up here as a clue for you guys, just as a hint from previous that we did work last night. So remember guys, any kind of odd number could be written as something like 2k plus 1. It can be written as odd number, and then 2k can be said as even number. So that the number of small squares is being two consecutive odd numbered shapes. Now, if you're unsure of how to start this question, right? Like, I mean, let's say you don't have that 2k plus 1 and 2k thing. I think the 2k plus 1 and 2k is necessary for this question. Like, you have to know that because otherwise it becomes quite tricky to answer these types of questions. So anytime you have a look at, like, when they ask you like odd numbered patterns or even number patterns, you've got to remember that 2k plus 1 and 2k. Let's say we want to have a look at the difference between two consecutive odd numbered shapes. Now, if you look at it, right, let's say odd numbered shapes. I'm going to just pick a random number here. I'm going to go with, I'm actually going to record this part. So let's say I'm going to go with like the 5th pattern and the 7th, because if I choose the 5th shape, then the next consecutive odd number would be the 7th shape. All right. Now, if I was to subtract this, I would actually go 7 squared minus 3. That's going to give me the number of small squared in that 7th pattern, minus 5 squared minus 3. And then I'm trying to figure out whether that answer is equal to 2. But I've got to prove it though. Because I've got to prove it, I've got to actually use algebra on it. Now, I don't actually know what which odd number it is. They're trying to say that for any one of them, which means if my first odd number is 2k plus 1, then my next odd number after that will have 2 added to it. So I hope that that kind of makes sense. So my second odd number would be 2k plus 1, which is that first odd number, plus 2. And if you look at this side example that I've done, because if my first odd number is 5, then my consecutive odd number would be 2 plus 5, which is how I get that 7. And that's exactly what I've done here. So I'm going to simplify this to be 2k plus 3 instead of 2k plus 1 plus 2. All right. Now it says, show that the difference in the number of squares between two consecutive numbers. So I've got to take the second odd number minus the first odd number. Then that should actually kind of help me out here. So I'm going to go, what is it? Just like how I did that 7 squared minus 3, because it's kind of like this. Think about it like this. If the 2k plus 3 is like 7, then I've got to replace the 7 with 2k plus 3. And if the 2k plus 1 is like the 5, I've got to replace the 5 with 2k plus 1. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go 2k plus 3 squared minus 3 subtracted by 2k plus 1 squared minus 3. If you use n plus 2 and n plus 4, the problem, I mean, like, I'm not sure how you, like, theoretically that should not have been given an excellence question, because n could actually be, what if it's a even number? But you know, if you use n plus 2 and n plus 4, you're actually saying that n could actually be an even number as well. So it's something that you got to be something you got to keep in mind of. Yeah, Alex, that's pretty much, you're on the right track there. So I'm gonna I actually stopped recording here, but like, do you guys have any questions about what I've done here before I carry on? Because this is pretty much it. Once you set up this equation, you expand it, and then you show that it has a factor of 2. Because I think yesterday we did it with a factor of 3. But if you guys want to have a go at it, expand this whole thing, simplify it, and see if you can take a common factor of 2 out. And if you can, then it's divisible by 2. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to try that. And again, if you're confused, Raymond, don't stress too much about it. Because like I said, like, we'll do a lot more questions like this, and then eventually in about 2 to 3 weeks time, things will actually start to make sense. Vanch, you can use any letter you want. I mean, like, it doesn't really matter. But I wouldn't use N, but like I would actually use like any letter except K. Except N. Wow. Jeez. Getting tired. I can tell I'm getting tired. Joe, one thing that we were messing around with yesterday is putting these questions on ChatGPT and then asking ChatGPT to give us similar questions. So that's what I'm going to do next week. When we go to next week, I'm going to generate like these types of questions on ChatGPT, see if they work, and if they work, then we'll take it out and we'll actually run it in the tutorials. Next week, PSV. Next week we'll do level 2. All right, I'm going to start going through this question because like I'm super aware of the time at the moment. All right, guys, so just with that previous question that we did in question 2, we're going to do something similar here. We're going to expand it and then get a common factor of 2 out. And if we do that, then this whole thing is divisible by 2. So expanding the brackets, I've got 2k plus 3 times 2k plus 3 minus 3 minus, and remember that big red bracket that we talked about? We're actually going to put that big red bracket this time. All right, we have to put that big bracket. So we've got 2k plus 1, 2k plus 1 minus 3. Because if we don't put that big red bracket, we forget that negative 1 in front, and then that just stuffs up the rest of the equation. So expanding this quadratic, we've got 4k squared plus 6k plus 6k plus 9 minus 3 minus, inside the red bracket, we've got 4k squared plus 2k plus 2k plus 1 minus 3, and we've got that all in that red bracket there. Simplifying on this side of it, we're going to get 4k squared plus 12k plus 6 minus, and inside the red bracket we've got 4k squared plus 4k minus 2. Now because we've got it all under that big red bracket, we've got to multiply by negative 1. So 4k squared plus 12k plus 6. Have I messed up somewhere here? I'm just wondering if I messed it up somewhere. Plus 6. No, it's all looking good. So negative 1 times 4k squared. So remember this negative 1 times that, negative 1 times that, and negative 1 times that. So we're going to end up with minus 4k squared minus 4k plus 2. 4k squared disappears. 12k minus 4k is 8k. 6 plus 2 is 8. Now at this point, I want to actually see that it's divisible by 2. So I'm going to take 2 out as a common factor, which means I'm going to get 2 times 4k plus 4. And basically, that is pretty much it. Because at this point, I can say that as this expression has a factor of 2, it is divisible by 2. Very similar to what we did in question 2E, or yesterday we were working on that question. So grades wise, folks, getting that final part and explaining with that reasoning is going to get you an excellence grade. Correct simplifies to an expression without any brackets gets you a merit. So this part right here gets you a merit. For achieved, correct expression for the difference between two successive odd number shapes. So achieved is the first line by the looks of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this paper, for this question anyway. And I think that's all the questions for this paper. Yeah, it is. Oh, Marquise. Thank you very much, Marquise. Appreciate it. But you didn't really need to. But thank you anyway. How do we celebrate this? What is this? I don't know what that does. I got like little tabs that are popping out. Right, Alice, we're going to be back on Sunday night for MCAT. But guys, I'm going to hang around for a few minutes. First off, if you have any questions for this, yeah, that's that. I know it's a bit of an odd question, but like it's just like that odd and even stuff that you have to know. All right. So look, I know last year when we did this, like, consecutive numbers came. Like, you guys get the idea of consecutive numbers. Consecutive numbers basically means that, you know, you've got x, and if you have like two consecutive numbers after that, it's like x plus 1, x plus 2, and so on. All right, so that's pretty much the idea behind these types of questions, and they seem to come a bit more these days, and it's like, it's always good to have them in your arsenal, I guess. For the next live stream, Talia, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and pick up what do you call it? I call it the parallel paper. So I'll make up like 5 more questions. So we'll do like section by section. So I think this is what I'm gonna do this year. I'll do like, instead of theming it, like what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna do one section of 5 questions, so that covers like your achieve, merit, excellence. And of course we'll sidetrack, we'll go sidetrack and go, oh hey, you know, can you do more of these types of questions? Then we can go sidetrack and do those questions. Vansh, yeah, I do have a Surface Pro, man. It's good. Got all the few little write on tablets. No worries, Anne, you're welcome. But anyway, guys, look, as I said to you guys before, that was the final final bit of work today. Where did it go? So I'll hang out for a while just to kind of have a chat, but otherwise I will see you guys on Sunday for our next live stream, eh? No worries, Joe. Like I said before, I do kind of enjoy this. It's good bit of good fun. Always. Oh, sorry. Before I forget, I gotta say this. Chicago Cubs, great story there, PSV. There's a really cool story about the Chicago Cubs, which I'll share later on. What was I gonna say to you guys? Look, massive thank you from people that have been kind of like sharing my stuff to other kids, because there's a lot of year 11 kids that actually don't know I exist. So, you know, just share it with your class, share it with your mates. You know, if you're having problems with MCAT, go check out this guy's stuff on YouTube. Really appreciate it. yeah, because ultimately, you know, it's for me, it's just like sometimes I get messages from kids like on the night of the exam, and then they're like, "Oh, I wish I'd actually found you about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I would have actually passed MCAT." So yeah, so if you can actually just share my content, would appreciate it. And then thank you for your support. And look, I mean, Makis, I know, thank you for your donation today, but to be honest, I do this because I actually really enjoy it. You know, I get to do some maths, and I get to help some kids along the way. It's good fun. It's doing my yeah, doing some good. That's what I'm trying to think of. That's the way I like to think it. All right. Integration by parts. You talking about parts or substitution? Wrong UV. Oh man, I think I've forgotten integration by parts. I need to revisit that again to have a look at it. No, Zong, you can't compare this to Dave Goggins, man. That guy is like a machine, that one. I've got nothing on him, on me. Tomorrow, Didi, we're going to be doing level 3 integration tomorrow. UV part, yeah, jeez. Is that same as differential equations by integration by parts? I don't know. I'm just getting confused now. It's been a while since I've done that. Today it is, Tyson. Today it is. I'll be back my level 1 for Sunday night. I gotta find this kid's picture. Yeah, and we'll do level 2 next week as well. Alright, so I'm gonna go see if I can play some Fall Guys because I'm enjoying that. Finally managed to connect my PS4 controller to my PC, and then it's good fun. Maxwell. I don't know what's Maxwell. Is it like a competition or something? Did not know that. Most competition math, learn some number 2. No, I did not even know that something like that existed. Damn. Anyway, guys, look, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. Gonna go sort out something else. Play games. Oop, did I come out loud? Play games. Yep. Have a good night. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. All right. Take care, guys. See you later.